Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the PrimalSomething podcast. This week we have two guys on, Ed Dutton and his brother Oliver Dutton, both back from their American trips. Ed coming back from Florida, who's been there for 2 weeks, and Oliver Dutton, who travelled to New York for a week. Both very different holidays, obviously both to America across the Atlantic, but we basically have been chatting on WhatsApp. I thought we'd get together and have a chat about both their trips, because I believe it's both their first time travelling to America. So Ed went to Florida, which is obviously a very different place to New York. So we got Oliver in, we got Ed in, we had a chat about their travels, the time spent in New York, what they did, things that they would recommend doing. And just general chat really about everything that went on there. We did have a little break midway because we came into the studio, had some food, put the podcast on pause, and then came back after that. So there's a little pause between, but we sort of have synced it up pretty well, so it's sort of uncut. Enjoy the podcast. This is a podcast with Oliver Dutton, Ed Dutton, and myself, Glenn Wheeler. Enjoy. Thank you. What were you on about the Juji? Is that fake or something?
I think we've ordered 4 meals.
No, we haven't.
I don't know. I have no idea.
If you knew what you ordered,
this is why I use Just Eat, because you don't have to speak to anyone.
I don't even think it's on Just Eat.
Well, hi guys. We're actually here today with the legendary Oliver Dutton, who we've talked about in almost all of our podcasts. So,
welcome, Oliver.
Well, this is the first time hearing of it. Of course, I've listened to the others.
Yeah. So this one we've got a few topics we want to talk about, haven't we?
Yeah, I guess the topic I wanted to talk about. You guys have just been on your American explorations.
Yeah.
Edward in Florida and Ollie in New York. Looked like 2 fantastic trips. So what have you been getting up to? What would you recommend? Ollie, start with you. How was the flight? How did it compare to Singapore?
Well,
Get close to the mic.
we flew to Singapore in Emirates Airways.
Who did you fly with this time again?
This was with Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
Thomas Cook.
Right.
And to be fair, it was pretty good. I mean, it was comfortable. There wasn't any major issues. The only thing is that there wasn't any... The entertainment was a bit lacking.
Oh, yeah.
So there wasn't a screen.
Did you not take your tablet out?
I forgot it.
Right.
Life without... There wasn't a screen?
I know, right?
We've got a big tech man here and he's forgot his tablet.
No.
Oh,
God.
I did have my...
What did you do?
I did have my phone and my Nintendo Switch, which I brought with me.
I still want to have a look at one. You should have brought it. I still want to have a look at those Nintendo Switches.
Should
have you played it yet?
Yeah.
For about a few hours.
Yeah, Ollie brought it over to mine and I didn't let him
Zelda.
have it back for the rest of the day.
Have you only got Zelda?
Yeah. So they had the usual screens posted every 4 aisles.
What shitty films did they have on?
Gravity.
I've still not seen that movie yet.
Don't. It's alright.
It's not that bad. Sandra Bullock could have done a better
but
job.
it's very scientifically inaccurate.
Yeah.
So I've heard. It's like that with most films though. I was listening to radio...
Sorry. No, go on.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say...
If you want to interrupt.
Isn't there a bit where she's like breathing in space or something?
Oh no, that's actually a hallucination in her own mind.
Okay.
Sorry to spoil it for
Yeah,
you.
Edward. You got that wrong.
Yeah. Sorry for rudely interrupting.
And then there was Garfield on after that.
I've not seen that either.
Nice.
They did have an interesting concept which I've never seen before, where from when you got on the flight to when you took off, they encouraged you to download their Thomas Cook entertainment app.
All right.
So you download the app, and then once the flight got airborne and the seatbelt signs got turned off, they would turn on a internal Wi-Fi network. in the plane.
That's cool.
How the hell does that work, technically?
The plane doesn't communicate with the internet, and in America they have a lot of planes where you can use the internet once you're up in the air.
Right.
So it is just a local network that's basically spooling it off a media server. Because once you open the app, it authenticates and realizes you're on a flight.
Is that all free or was it a charge? Oh, that's good.
So you got 6 movies that you could watch on your phone or your iPad for free, and about 6 or so TV shows, or you could pay £5 and get the premium upgrade.
Ooh. Which gave you what?
Which they advertised it was 50 films and TV shows, and it was probably close to that. I didn't obviously count, but all the even the premium, because they let you view the premium before you obviously buy it, and they were all nothing decent really, but it was better than nothing.
Were there sockets to like charge your phone and device?
No, so there was no sockets either.
That was my first thought. Is okay, so they haven't got screens at the back of the chair.
So hang on, you flew to Florida, which is about the same distance, or how many hours is yours, Ollie?
Mine was 7 hours on the way there, 6 on the way back.
What was yours?
I think ours was about 8.5 on the way there and about.
Did yours have plugs?
6.5, 7 on the way back.
Sockets?
No, it didn't. But
Who was that with?
But it had screens in the back of the chairs, so we didn't have to like worry.
Oh, right.
Yours was with British Airways,
Yeah,
wasn't
we
it?
were with British Airways.
See, it's not like these Emirates flights, is it? These posh Emirates flights. We had sockets and everything.
They were a luxury. But to be honest, Thomas Cook was good for the price.
You almost said it.
How much? So how much was the flight, if you don't mind me asking, to New York?
It was all done in a package by a travel agent.
Right.
That my mum sorted out, because we went with my mum, dad, granddad, and friend, and it was about £1,500 for flights, hotels, and transfer for 7 nights.
That's pretty good.
That's freaking good for you.
Yeah,
That is really good. That's really good. And that was from Manchester, wasn't it?
Yes.
To New York.
Manchester
to JFK.
to JFK.
What's JFK airport like? Huge. Is it bigger than Dubai's?
No. It's probably more unorganised, disorganised. I'll give you. You might already. I might have already told you this, but guess how long it took from when we stepped off the flight to when we stepped into the hotel.
Oh yeah, you were talking about this.
Yeah.
Explain it again. How long was it again?
It was about 5.5, 6 hours.
That's fucking crazy, isn't it? Compared to any airport that I've been to, that we've all been in, it's normally in and out within an hour. Bags collected through security and...
To be fair, about half, 2/3 with the airport, because JFK is actually quite a distance from Manhattan. It took about an hour and a half to get from JFK to Manhattan. But we stepped off the flight, and obviously you get told you have to fill in an ESTA, which is electronic standardization for travel authorization, something like. It's a visa waiver, basically.
Yeah.
If you go in the country for less than 90 days.
But did you fill that in once you were on the flight? Because I remember going to Cuba. We had that all on the flight, and we filled all that in.
So you filled in the U.S. Customs slip on the flight, where you had to put down where you were staying and whatnot. But you had to buy an ESTA prior to travelling, because it can take 72 hours.
Sorry, what was an ESTA again?
Challenge.
It's basically it's an electronic something. I can't remember the S stands for, but for
Edwards.
Travel
Get it up on
organization. It's a visa waiver.
Okay.
So if you're staying in the country more than 90 days, or for other than being a tourist, you've got to get a visa. If you're a tourist and staying in less than 90 days,
electronic system for travel authorization.
The system.
There you go, people. That's what you need to have.
Not that pricey, about $13.
Right.
That's not bad, is it?
Which, you know, not that bad.
$14 per application.
So you just fill that in online?
Yeah. You type in your passport number, your basically everything in the kitchen sink, it asks you a lot of details.
And you have to do this per every person travelling?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So it's $14 per passenger. It's name, address, job, occupation, how long you've been there, where you're staying, your obviously your passport details.
And does all of this go into Donald Trump's database? Probably. Jeez, that's crazy. It sounds like it's worse than Cuba.
That is one thing. Like when I went to America,
it does last 2 years though. So.
Oh right, so you don't have to keep
does.
filling.
Yeah.
So if you were going again, you don't have to fill that in.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Or until you replace your passports, because my parents had a Nesta less than 2 years ago, but had new passports. So you had to get a new Nesta.
I've just changed my passport as well. I've just had a new one done. They fancy the new passports. Have you got a new one?
I think so.
When did you get your passport?
You need to get a new one.
Like a Russian paedophile on
it. What, on your photo?
Yeah.
In order to get into America, you need to have the electronic passport chip.
Well, the new ones, I got the new one, and it's got, you have your photo on in the main part. It's actually on all of the pages, or the majority of the pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the weird. So after you got out your 6-hour queue,
well,
JFK,
we got off the plane and then had to join through border control.
Yeah.
Get closer to the mic. Cheers.
Border control,
right?
Which was a massive room that had about 50 checkpoints in it, and it was a zigzag queue for. It must have had close to 1,000 people in that room. It was massive, and as you can imagine, you got to the centre of that room on this zigzag. It got quite hot, and this was actually after standing in another queue for half an hour out of the zigzag. So we were in that queue totally for 2 hours. No toilets.
And no Alton Towers ride again.
You know what? I was just going to say, but can you remember? Can you remember when we waited for Rita, Queen of Speed? That was the first ride. It took about 2.5 fucking hours to get to the front.
And then you're on it for about 13 seconds.
Yeah. So
sounds just like it.
They had, once you got to the front of the queue, we were told to go to one booth, and then the guy, and then they were like, "Oh no, go to booth 50 instead." So you basically had to move along, but I don't know if you had.
And what, they just checked your passports and stuff?
Yeah, so they basically, you walk up to the booth, like, and they go, "How long are you here for? What's your purpose of staying?" And they'd be like, "Oh, holiday."
And you lie, and you stuff the drugs further into your boxes.
You would try not to choke on the bag you swallowed. And how many people you with, they check your passport. They then ask you they take fingerprint beads.
Jesus
so you got to do both hands.
And thumbs, yeah.
And your thumbs, obviously.
That is mad.
I had to redo mine, because I think mine was on a weird angle or something like that.
That's one thing that sort of bugged me about going to America is that.
Did you have to do the same?
They now have your fingerprints on record.
Yeah, and
where did you fly into? You went from Manchester as well. Oh no, Glasgow, wasn't it?
So we flew from Glasgow to Gatwick, and then Gatwick to Orlando.
Yeah. God, I bet that was a nightmare. Was it?
It was alright.
Was it?
Did this happen to be the same weekend or just after the weekend that they had the IT failure as well?
It was, yeah. And we were in Lyon, so we didn't even know the IT failure was going on, so we had a pure meltdown in the day in between.
So where did you fly to? Just Florida Airport?
Yeah, Orlando Airport, which is sort of central Florida. And then we...
Any 6-hour queues in Florida Airport?
No, it was okay. The airport was weird. It looked a little bit outdated, but I don't know if outdated in America is.
I think it might. I expected that from Cuba when we landed in Cuba. Landing in Cuba airport, it had bloody smashed windows and stuff on the airport. It was really run down.
It's weird.
But
I mean, it wasn't.
I would expect that from Cuba
because it wasn't dirty or anything. But I mean, they could have replaced the carpets and painted the walls. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, running on a tight budget, And Trump's pulling everything. So you got through the airport pretty swiftly?
Yeah, I got off the flight. The queue was nowhere near as bad. It was probably like a half an hour queue. But they had fans in our room. So we weren't hot.
Yeah.
What time of day did you both land, Ollie? What
So we landed at
in JFK?
So we took off at 10 a.m. in the morning in
Manchester.
in Manchester, and then landed 1 p.m.
All right.
in America.
That's not bad times then.
So there's 5 hour time difference, 7 hour flight, so it was roughly 2 hours, 2-3 hours obviously after you'd taken off realistically. So we got back to the hotel about 6:30, so it was about 5 hours. But
God, that's a long time to be in a bloody airport
the
and
thing
then
is,
travel.
both my mum and my friend needed the toilet. They had to wait for 2 hours because there's literally the only toilets were past security.
See, we had toilets at ours as well.
That's weird, that though, isn't
I
it?
mean-
To not have bloody toilets.
It is weird considering how popular their airport is, but I think three flights landed at the same time, or 3-4 flights landed at the same time.
I think JFK takes a lot of internal flights though, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like, so they probably don't have to actually handle passport control like that well. Just a thought, maybe not.
How many runways has it got at JFK? Like, must be fucking.
I'm not sure, but it had about
Shall I Google
30
it?
gates, maybe. 30 gates, yeah.
Let's have a.
Sure, Wikipedia would tell us.
We're gonna have a comparison of.
LGA. What the hell is LGA?
That's LaGuardia Airport.
Right.
That's another airport that's in the New York area, state of New York. Similar sort of distance than JFK.
Seeing if there's any cool stats.
Once you actually got past security, though.
What's that one? What was that? Best airports for connecting flights.
Atlanta apparently is the best.
Atlanta is also the busiest and biggest airport in the world.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
God, you wouldn't think that, would you, with all the major cities you've got? Like, freaking bigger than Dubai? No way.
It's the biggest airport in the world. And if
Here we go. Worst US airports for connecting flights. New York, JFK.
as second.
Second.
Well, you can imagine if you're connecting flight at JFK, you have to wait 6 hours to do shit.
Jeez.
Must be
Well,
a nightmare.
they had people walking up and down the queue saying any connecting flights less than 2 hours. And they were basically allowing those people to skip the queue.
So I wonder how long that's been going on for, because that's obviously an operations issue. That 6 hours, like if for 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours, that is a serious operations issue.
It was a accumulation of things. So
Is it normally like that, or is that just because of that? It just happened to be that time.
Probably both. Probably. I mean, it was a mixture of it normally like that, but then 4 flights arrived at the same time, mainly from like Europe or the UK.
What's the security like in the American airports, like New York especially, JFK?
Yeah, it's pretty tight. When
a lot of police or cops with guns.
Not much visible police. On the way back, going through security, that was actually a lot more efficient and quicker.
Easy to get out, hard to get in.
Yeah, and but you had to do usual. You didn't have to take off your shoes. I think no, you had to take off your shoes. You didn't have to take off your belt though, and you had to take out all your laptops, all the electronics, put them in separately.
I think that's standard now, isn't it? Pretty much.
And they have the machines where you go in, and then you put your arms up like you're surrendering. But not as high, like head height. And then
is that so the police don't accidentally shoot you?
Well, that totally depends on which ethnicity you are, doesn't it?
I was going to say I'm British white, so it doesn't matter.
That was on the borderline, Edward.
Yeah.
Touchy subject around the world. Isn't it?
And it does a complete body scan using the new scanners.
Oh, nice.
have no idea what that scans for. It doesn't even tell you, does it?
Yeah, just to check you don't not carrying a knife strapped to your leg or something like that.
Probably.
But yeah, no, so once we got our bags, that basically ended up being in a massive pile because it was 2 hours after the flight landed. So loads of people, basically the staff, had taken it off the conveyor belt,
Put it in a
put
file.
it in a massive.
Put it somewhere.
I always think that's terrible. Anyone could walk away with your bag. That really does my head in.
Well, they could do that anywhere, I guess, on the
It's all about a trust.
what they're called, carousel things.
Yeah.
But it's just about trust, isn't it? Because
Yeah, but you're trusting complete strangers.
it's just the way it's always been. That's how fucking bags get
In
lost, I guess.
society, yeah. I mean,
Always get insurance, folks.
and then once we got our bags and we were arranged with this super shuttle, but again that was an hour and a half wait for the shuttle bus to turn up.
So that was your transfer then by bus?
Which wasn't even that good of a bus. It was, the suspension was knackered and it was no aircon and it was just like pretty bad. But
Great first impressions of the US.
yeah, well, you say that, we thought, I'll go to Dunkin' Donuts by the transfers area.
Yeah.
So get some bottles of water and some donuts. And it was for 6 donuts and 3 bottles of water, it was $24.
Jesus. And these are the small donuts as well?
About the same size as you get with Krispy Kreme donuts.
Oh, right.
But
That's
they
quite
were,
big.
they were really dry, though. Because we got the originals, we thought it'd be quite nice.
What was the company called?
Dry.
Dunkin' Donuts?
Dunkin' Donuts. There's a few in the UK.
Dunkin'
as well.
Donuts, sort your shit out.
I'll tell you what, though.
Dry donuts.
$4.65 for a bottle of water.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I've never seen.
Must have cost you a fortune in that country, really.
No. Everywhere else,
Oh, it's
bottles
cheap.
of water were like $1.50,
Captured
$2.
market, isn't it?
But yeah,
They do that in airports, I don't know.
it was pretty shocking. But
Ours wasn't that bad. I mean, we got in, we had a half an hour wait, and then Wendell
Did you use
Wendell to
Wendell,
hired a car though, didn't you? Was that
Yes.
straight from the airport?
Yeah, so we walked to like the sort of taxi.
How many of yous was there?
There was
6.
8.
Oh, 8.
No.
8? Who else was there?
Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, I saw you got. I
Yeah,
saw you that you
it
got
was.
a selfie with Abby's brother on Instagram.
Yeah.
let's count Ed's entourage.
So I went with Abby, my girlfriend, and her dad and family, and her brother and his girlfriend. So yeah, there was 8 of us in total, and we just went straight to sort of the taxi rank, and there was the rental car like taxi essentially took us straight to the rental place, and then we got our 15-seater.
Was it?
Yeah,
You had that for the whole 2 weeks?
yeah.
Jesus.
Wow.
It was enormous.
How much was that for the 2 weeks?
I don't know.
What was the size of it? Was it like
15
minibus?
Minibus though.
Physical size?
It was
minibus style?
15-seater. Jesus Christ, that must be a big vehicle.
not in America.
What?
No,
I don't know the size of them in America.
Two at the front. Three.
What
3.
was it?
Three. No, I'm kidding. It's like 3, 5 or something. I can't remember what it was. But
That's a wide vehicle to have 5 at the back.
yeah, either that or
Sure it wasn't 3. 4 lots of 3.
no, because there was like a corridor down one side,
Oh, right.
and then there was like a row at the back.
Oh, right, like the back seat of the bus.
Yeah,
Big
but
rebels.
that's just where our suitcases went, pretty much. Yeah, and then we just drove straight to the villa, so it was alright.
How far was the transfer for that?
Between
Airport and the villa.
airport and the villa,
Was it- you
drive
were
was
on-
about 50 minutes.
What's
I
the
think.
place called in Orlando? Summit Drive.
International Drive.
Is that what you were on?
We were about a 15-minute drive from International Drive.
Okay.
So we were quite well. We were close to all the parks. No. I think it took us a maximum of 45 minutes to get to a park. The furthest one away was Busch Gardens, which was actually in Tampa.
Did you? Oh, we'll go into that in a minute.
Which took like, I think it was like an hour and a half drive, but it was like the other side of Florida. So wasn't that bad.
Good stuff. I just want to stop a second because we'll stop and get this food, and we'll be back in however long it takes us to eat it.
Well, for you guys, it'll be like seconds.
Won't be long. Whoa! Hello, we are back after delicious food by Taste of Persia. Right, where did we finish?
I think we were just talking about the flights.
Oh no, your transfer. You just got back to the
to the villa.
to the transfer, yeah.
To the villa, and then I can't remember what else we were going to talk about.
Where was the first place that you went then, Ollie? When you obviously got back to the hotel, and then did you just sleep and stuff when you got back, or?
No, we got back. It was about 6, something like that.
Because you're right. You were right in
Yeah, pretty much
Times
Times Square. We were about not even 5 minute walk. You could see Times Square from the hotel balcony.
Oh yeah, I saw your photos on Instagram from the rooftop bar. Was it?
Yes, yeah, it was quite a nice rooftop bar. Literally about a block away. Americans measure everything in blocks. And
What is a block classed as? Just a street?
So, yeah,
a row
a block is the massive building. So you have avenues which go from north to south. Fifth Avenue obviously being the most famous one. That goes on the east side of Central Park. Down the right hand side if you're looking from a top down view. And then you would have streets as in like numbered streets that go from again horizontally from north to south that go obviously across. So we were on something like 52nd and Broadway.
Yeah.
So you were on the 52nd Street, and then obviously the Broadway is the unique road that kind of does a slight S shape as it goes down Manhattan.
Was it not noisy and stuff like through the night and obviously through the day with it being busy and everything?
Not really. I mean, if you had...
What was the hotel called again?
It was Novotel. Novotel Times Square. It's actually really good. Really nice hotel.
Whoops.
Pounding the cup for Ed for leaving his messages on.
I don't know why that made a noise. It was on mute. Just bringing up a map of New York here. You can just go to Google Maps and Google New York City, and you'll see what we're talking about here.
Yeah, so a lot of the south of Manhattan, isn't got the grid system, because the grid system actually wasn't put in place until something like 18... Sorry, I can Google that. Because...
So New York's made up of like different islands, isn't it?
Yeah,
but
so
when you look at New York, like that main part of New York,
that's Manhattan. Yeah.
Looks like it's like on the borderline of fucking sinking.
Yeah, it does look like it, doesn't
Like
it?
when you see it on movies and you see all the water around, it just looks like that.
Yeah.
That island's fucked in a few years.
This is Broadway here, isn't it?
Which is the side where they landed the plane? That's
the
top side there.
Hudson River.
Hudson River, that was it.
Which is, I believe, is on the west.
Is that it?
Northwest, yeah. West.
Yeah.
Wait, so what was that? What was that? They landed a plane?
Yeah, so a few years ago, there's a film about it called Sully that Tom Hanks plays in it.
I watched it.
Basically,
He always plays in films like that.
You just don't want to travel with him.
A commercial passenger jet was basically failing its engines, and he successfully landed the plane on the Hudson River, saving everyone on board.
But there was a whole thing about they did a virtual simulation saying that it wasn't possible. He could have got back to the airport or landing strip or something.
Yeah, they said that he did that on purpose, but then there's also, I think they got like 50 pilots in a room. 50 pilots went through the same simulation, and they couldn't do it.
They couldn't land in the river.
Yeah,
reason why they were landing, because they did some tests and they were landing it saying they could land it, but that's when they knew it was going to happen. And obviously he didn't know anything was going to happen, so you had to make a decision in that space of time. Yeah. Whereas on the simulation, they knew something was going to happen, so they could direct the plane straight away and land it. Right. So there was that length of time, that decision making time where that eventually sort of proved them wrong, and he obviously was a hero.
You're wrong.
Absolute hero.
I mean, those decisions, that's why they get paid. Probably the
Yeah.
amount they get paid, and go through all the training that they go through as well.
And if you look at the South Manhattan or downtown,
So
you
like
can see
Times Square way, or
like way south.
like Lower Manhattan.
Yeah, Lower Manhattan. That's it. You can see that the grid system's not really there. It's quite
It's still
higgledy-piggledy. Yeah, because the grid system wasn't put in place until 1811, and a lot of the houses in Lower Manhattan were built around then.
What do you think about grid systems? Because obviously England's every British, well, 90% of British towns and cities have grown organically, and there are almost no grid cities.
Like Milton Keynes.
Yeah, like Milton Keynes. That was obviously a new town planned, but I don't even. That's not laid out in a grid system, is it? Or is it?
I have no idea.
You go on Google Maps.
You're the architect here, Ed. Do you know what you're on about?
I'm not the architect.
But the Lower Manhattan has actually expanded quite a bit from when they built the Twin Towers. When they built the Twin Towers, they...
How was it expanded?
So, because they built the Twin Towers so close to the Hudson River, they needed some sort of protection to go in case, obviously, water gets through. So they built a massive, what they call slurry wall. And if you go to the Memorial Museum, which I did, you can see the slurry wall in place, still standing in the museum, because they built it on the site of the Twin Towers, the whole museum. It's designed basically so that you have a solid concrete wall that will stop water getting past, obviously through naturally through the rock.
So,
and in order to dig that out, they dug it out and created, I think it was about 35 acres of land added to Lower Manhattan.
That's crazy.
So you went to the memorial.
Yeah.
What was that like? Crazy.
Yes, it was. It is amazing how big you realise the towers were. So when they
I can hear conspiracy.
Lots.
So they have two massive memorial pools where the original two towers stood, which is basically like a water feature, and it has name panels all the way around the outside. If you're considering there's close to 3,000.
How big are they in square foot or whatever?
What, the Twin Towers?
Like, yeah, where the waterfall things are now, the features. In terms of go and see who's there. Go back to that, Ed. Go back to all. There's like a Wikipedia thing. Go. Yeah.
Which one?
There on the side. Does it not tell you how big square foot it is? That it covers? Oh, there you go. That's your t-shirt, Ollie.
Yeah.
Ollie's actually wearing a I Love NY t-shirt, but it's the 9/11 memorial version. It's quite cool.
Go there. What's on the side there? Down. Can't see it anywhere, obvious.
But
it's the existing floor plates, isn't it, of the original towers?
Yeah, so you can go into the museum. The museum's a small building above ground, but when you go underneath, it's the entire site. You can actually see some of the original foundations of the towers in the museum, because it's quite big underneath.
I mean, you can sort of see the scale here in this photo.
Is that a concept? Is that real?
No, that's real.
Can you zoom in on your...
I'll see if I can find a better photo. We're just looking at...
It's crazy how big it is, though, isn't it? So we can... To know they were stood there...
3,000, nearly 3,000 people. Victims.
That included, obviously, the Pentagon and the car bomb that was in the car park underground car park of the World Trade Center in 1996.
Can you just remember where you were when it happened?
Yes. I remember being sat in the living room and my dad had just bought a new DVD player and he'd hooked up, I don't know if you remember, Ollie, it was like a Sony surround sound one, silver, and he bought that, he bought like a huge TV of its time. It's like a 24-inch, one of the huge deep set ones that weighed half a ton.
Oh, yeah.
And he was setting it up and we'd just bought some DVDs and we were putting them away, and then we flicked to the news and I was like, what's going on? And it was, my mum and dad were like, oh god, and I was like, what's happening? And obviously I could see the towers and the smoke and stuff, and I was like, I didn't really know what was going on. It was 2001, so it's 16 years ago. I would have been like, I don't know,
A little baby.
I would have been like, yeah. No, I can't add. I would have been like 6 or 7. So
Yeah, I remember I was walking back from school and I'd heard it first at the I heard it mentioned when we were walking back from school, and then we got back home and it was literally on every single channel.
Oh yeah.
You turned over the channel and it was just like...
Because it happened on about 8:30 in the morning, but obviously 5-hour time difference.
Yeah,
so it actually happened about 1 p.m. over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, just walking around it was very... say somber or respectful. People were just taking the time. It was good to just see what basically everything they gathered, you know.
It must be weird for people to sort of who are living in and around New York, Manhattan or whatever, just to know, to have lived through it, where the actual Twin Towers were once there and now it's sort of this memorial place. Must be such a weird thing to experience.
It's had massive consequences, even more than the actual people that died. But there's obviously you got survivor guilt, where people obviously who had survived felt guilty.
Yeah, or they should have done this or they could have done that type of thing.
Family members. I mean, you could at one point in the museum you can actually view and listen to mobile answer phone messages.
Oh yeah. Oh
that
really?
People had left.
Oh wow.
There was one guy.
Is that in the museum?
Yeah, there's one guy who had 61 voicemail messages.
And what was he on, one of the planes on the tower?
He was on one of the planes.
Jesus Christ.
And he's the same guy. He basically rang, when they realised it was hijacked, he rang his mum, who was a ex-air stewardess, and they said, oh, it's been hijacked. And then about 10 minutes later, there's all these voicemails. She rang back to say, basically begging him to fight the hijackers.
How many hijackers were on board the planes again?
So there was in total 19 hijackers. There should have been 20. One of them got refused entry into the country because he failed to answer questions when asked. There was 4 flights, 5 hijackers on each flight, 1 pilot on each flight that obviously actually trained in
How
American...
the fuck does that happen, man? It's honestly, I know that.
Actually trained in American pilot school for about 18 months before this event. They basically...
18 months, so that's some serious
planning for this took place about 2 years, 18 months before the actual event.
God.
And there's an entire part of the museum which basically is a timeline of what they did. They tracked all the footage down from airport video footage and satellite footage, and
you can see that in the museum
footage.
as well.
You can see the terrorists walk out of arrivals at JFK, 18 months beforehand.
Holy fuck.
And the flight that had 4 hijackers instead of the normal 5 was actually the flight that got grounded. The passengers fought back and then crashed it into the ground near Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I can see this photo here. I'll post the link for this photo up.
So that's
the United Airlines Flight 93, that one.
Yes, yeah. So that was en route to Washington, D.C. either to strike the White House or the Capitol building. Most people think it was Capitol building because American Parliament, Senate was in session and everyone was there. So if it crashed into the Capitol building, most of the US government wiped out.
Jesus.
He had a plan to disable 3 main areas. You had the financial area, which is World Trade Centers, military, which is Pentagon, and then political, which is Capitol.
So hang on a minute. Looking at this diagram, the United Airlines Flight 93 is flying away from New York there, though.
Yeah,
so that would be the flight outbound.
The point it turned was the point it got hijacked.
The point what?
The point that the flight changes direction is the point it got hijacked.
So where's it going to there, though? So it's been hijacked at that point.
It could have been going...
I think all 4 flights were destined for like LA, Chicago, some western...
the other side of the country, probably.
Yeah. They all purposely chose long haul flights.
Shit.
But yeah, no, it is. I mean, we spent 5.5 hours.
I bet now you don't mind waiting 6 hours in that queue, do you?
No, yeah. Security checks, it's important.
Well, we spent 5.5 hours in the actual museum itself.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But it was well worth it.
How long is it? Obviously, the museum and all the stuff they've got there now, that must have taken years to create.
Yeah.
And build.
I mean, it was.
Get together.
Well, they said construction on the museum, and then the museum opened in 2014.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
2014, is that
3
it?
years ago.
Bloody hell.
Wow.
So the memorial opened quite soon after. But the museum...
So I saw all your photos of the stuff at the museum. The fire engines and all that was the museum as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, so the fire engine that was attached to the building as it collapsed. It's basically half of it.
Have you got all those photos public or not, so people can see them more?
Not public, but I can make
yeah, we'll do a link. We'll do a link, and we'll some sort of Flickr link or Google Photos or something.
Yeah.
Some
so people can see
photos.
them.
There is some crazy ones like a metal, basically a steel column that was on the 30th floor of the South Tower, and as you can see, as the South Tower just collapsed, it bent in half, bent 180 degrees.
With the force of it coming down.
The building.
Jesus Christ! How far's the new World Trade Center to the memorial place?
Very close, actually.
Is it?
So they've built 7. They're building 7 new buildings around the memorial site.
Yeah.
They've already completed most of them. When I was there, they were finishing off building building 3.
Oh wow! It's a 3-minute walk.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, it's literally over the road.
It's literally
the same
next door. It's So One World Trade Center, or the Freedom Tower, as it's also known as, is the 4th highest building in the world now. The tallest building in the Western Hemisphere.
Jesus.
So that's the memorial there.
How cool is Google Maps and Google?
And that's the one Trade Center. Literally right next door.
So they all have numbers. So obviously you got 1 World Trade Center, 2 World Trade Center. Yeah.
What a recovery! Like, can you remember the footage and stuff when it happened and all those everything piled on top?
Yeah.
What a crazy set of humans to sort of get all that sorted out and do something like this for it.
I mean, they had a magnet on sale, 2 magnets on sale. One was September the 11th at 8:30, New York skyline, bright blue sunshine. And then they had September 11th, 2016, at 8:30, and the skyline obviously looks quite different. But the one prominent thing is obviously the Freedom Tower that's stood there.
Yeah, yes, it's crazy now. There's like tons of all the movies and stuff you see now. Even with the World Trade Center, the Twin Towers in them. It's so bloody sad to see them in old movies.
Even
when you come
watching Friends.
Yeah.
Like the Friends intro and stuff. It's on there. It's
God,
crazy.
it's so bloody. It's so insane.
But they also had stories that you could basically sit in like this little theatre section, and they had. It's almost like memories that basically people were retelling the stories of either survivors, or footage, and then with a map of the building and where they were, like what floor they were on, what company they were part of. There were some companies that just got completely wiped out. I mean,
I wonder how many people who were in the old World Trade Center now work in the new one, and I wonder if there's people still sort of comfortable with working high up in the buildings and all that type of stuff.
They're proud of.
I don't know. I mean,
So do we know what type of thing they've put in place now to try and avoid this type of thing in terms of airspace and all that?
6 hour waits.
Yeah.
And wasn't it the liquid? The liquid thing has been the biggest sort of change to travel.
I guess so. Yeah.
You're only allowed 100 maximum of 100 mil of 1,000 mil in total or something.
yeah, I think that's mainly to prevent bombs on planes.
Well, it's the same with your shoes, isn't it? And heels and all that. If you've got heels on and all that type of stuff. Yeah. So moving away from the World Trade Center, what else did you get up to? I saw your photos of Central Park.
Oh yes.
It's such a weird thing to have such a green. It's a bit like Singapore, I guess, where you've got the solar trees and the gardens and all that stuff, and then obviously you've got this one, which how big was it again? You'd mentioned it. I mean, it looks fucking huge on Google Maps.
I mean,
and the photos look insane.
Yeah, I mean, we only explored about a third to a half of it.
I bet you could be in there for weeks.
That was a good few hours, over 2 days. But yeah, we would just walk along and just find things. I mean, the most amazing thing is you in a hustling city, you walk for not even a minute into the park, and it goes completely quiet.
That's incredible, isn't it?
It's like you start hearing like bird sounds and whatnot.
That's it. You're in sort of what's it called? The Times Square.
Yeah.
Just non-stop lights everywhere, sound, people on the street playing music, and then you go into this
even
place.
The traffic nearby. Yeah.
Yeah, traffic.
You're walking along and you'd hear someone playing the saxophone or someone playing the piano or.
Well, I did see your videos. There was people in Central Park, wasn't there, playing pianos, saxophones, and all sorts of stuff.
But there was one guy who was on top of one of the massive rocks playing his trombone.
Just randomly.
Being recorded by
getting some
a
practicing.
friend. I was just like, but
look out for that video on YouTube.
Yeah.
You forget where you are, and then you look up towards the horizon or anywhere, and it's just skyscrapers in the background.
You
know,
that's mad.
The first time we went round it, it's probably the worst weather in the whole holiday. It was like grey and drizzly. It was like pretty much British weather.
Nice.
Typical.
But luckily it got a lot hot. It got about 2-3 degrees hotter every day.
What does that say on that map? The Jewish Museum?
Yeah, there is a Jewish museum.
Did you go?
No, we didn't go.
I'm interested.
There seems to be so many museums and galleries and.
Well, if you zoom in a bit further, Fifth Avenue along Central Park is known as a museum mile because there's so many museums along that road.
Is that Columbus Avenue?
No, Fifth Avenue.
They've not got numbers of. 10th, I'm going the wrong way. Okay.
Yeah, Fifth Avenue is on the right-hand side of Central Park.
Trump Tower.
Oh, you went to Trump Towers. I saw your photo of Trump Towers. That looked pretty... the security looked insane.
It did. You were walking up to Trump Towers and there was 1 or 2 patrol cars parked outside and permanently stationed outside was 2 armed with machine guns, police officers, and a dog handler and obviously dog as well. So 3 armed policemen. And then you walk a bit further past the Trump Tower, and the entire road down the side of it has been bollarded off, cornered off with police.
That must be costing them a fortune.
Paid for by taxpayers now.
I know, dearly as well. Fucking.
So instead of having private security there, you would have now it's NYPD officers there.
I wonder if any other president has had that sort of treatment with their property.
I think it's not really to do with the property and due to the security of the property, it's to prevent people protesting, abusing it because they don't like Trump. If he was a well-liked president, I don't think the security would be there at all.
That's the problem with it all, isn't it? I bet he didn't have that. Is that still on?
Yeah, no, I just knocked it.
I bet, because obviously we've never. I don't believe they have. America's never had a president that has owned businesses like Trump Towers and all of these different things. They've just been a president. They've never sort of run businesses and everything within the cities.
He's the first president ever to not have any experience in the Senate and not hold a high-ranking military position. Every other previous president has either been in the Senate, been a senator, or had a high-ranking military position. He's the first one to not have them. So you think he's a businessman, really?
Yeah, but I guess that's why some of it he was voted in. I mean, why follow those rules, break the rules? There's nothing wrong with breaking the rules to see what happens. I mean,
he's seen the opportunity of, okay, actually, we can play this the same way we can play business.
Some people see a country as a business.
Well, I think there's advantages of that and disadvantages. Like you get a president who doesn't have ever owned a business. They've just had that background. Like, look at our prime ministers. They've had that background of brought up in a family that's had lots of money. They've never really been from a council estate. They've never had that background. So then how will they know about that? I guess it's the same.
Quite different in the UK because you have. Realistically, to become a prime minister, you have to either be the lead of one of the major parties, so probably Conservative or Labour. But to become in that position, you have to be recommended. So
and you come up through the ranks, I guess, for everything.
Whereas
our parliament,
a president, like anyone could be a president. And
is that true? If you can vote if you've got the money, you can vote yourself in as a president. How does it work?
Well, as in like vote yourself.
Like how did Trump get into that position where he came from being someone who was a businessman to someone who had himself run for president?
It was just basically getting the backing of the Republican Party.
Is it?
Because really, he's a candidate for the Republicans. That's the party he stood for.
You have to be at least 35 years old.
Oh, and a resident of the United States for 4 years and a natural born citizen. Oh my god, my mouse is playing that.
Yeah, so obviously there was controversy when Obama was elected president because people were saying he wasn't born in the US. When in fact he was born in Hawaii, I think, according to his birth certificate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, there was loads of stuff about that, wasn't it, when he had sort of come to his end of his presidency?
Yeah.
This is quite interesting. I'll post this link up. It's just talking about the youngest campaigning, choosing a running mate.
I thought you had to put money towards it as well. Or you had to have backing of a certain amount of fund to
the thing
run
is,
for president.
like,
you have to have backing of the Senate, don't you?
Yeah, you have to have backing, but he was a billionaire, so he just backed himself.
But he didn't, though. There's a lots of stuff about how Trump got into...
Steve will not know about this.
Well, I've spoken to Stephen already about it. People like Robert Mercer and all those type of people in Cambridge Analytica and all their involvement in the whole situation. It's a fucking long winding road into the deep, which we won't get into.
Was the New York Times has actually recently posted an article which lists every single one of his lies, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there's freaking full documentaries on it. That I've seen some of them on YouTube and Netflix and all that type of stuff. So it's but I don't think anybody from the outside knows what goes on in these whole campaigns and stuff. You never know what's going on in government. You're always told lies, and it's just a friggin'...
Well, I think that's where
it's a long winding road of
Trump's play to his strengths, because he obviously knows about how the process works.
Yeah, but he also knows a lot of people
to share and not share certain aspects of that.
Yeah, but he just comes up with these decisions where look what he does about all the news stuff. Like anything's lies unless it comes out of his own mouth. Everything's lies, or if he speaks,
Fake
everything.
News. Fake news.
Exactly. That's it. If it's not coming out of his mouth, it's fake news. That's the way it is with him, I guess.
That's closer to dictatorship, isn't it, than democracy?
It's a funny old situation.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, this how long he lasts. I mean, it was recently he was joking about his second term. And I was like...
Didn't Kanye West announce that he was going to run for president?
Yeah, there's loads of people that said they're going to run for president in 2020.
Now they've seen how easy
Dwayne Johnson was one of them, wasn't he?
Okay. Was he?
I think he'd make a good one as well.
But...
He's a dude. Do you not think?
Is he 35?
Dwayne Johnson? The Rock? We're talking about The Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 35. He's fucking well old.
Is he?
He's been around in the wrestling game for years.
That's a good point.
Google.
45, alright.
Yeah, 45. He's a beast. So you went to Trump Towers and then...
That was actually on our way up to Columbus Circle, which is on the southwest corner of Central Park. Massive roundabout. Probably the only roundabout I know of in in New York. But yeah, so I mean, we spent a good 3 of the days going around museums.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being the 9/11 Memorial, the other one being the Met, or the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which is massive and displays art from all over the world. You know, it had Greeks, Egyptians, like Oceania, which is like Australia and whatnot, and obviously upstairs they had all the European artists.
Any British art there?
Probably a few British artists.
Walker's Chris Packet from 1936.
No, I did get to see the famous Van Gogh portrait though.
Oh.
Which, funny enough, my parents and granddad spent an entire morning in that section and somehow missed the portrait.
You joke.
Even though we found it within like 2 seconds.
That's typical.
What was your granddad like? Because obviously he's an artist himself, isn't he, and everything else. I bet he loved those type of...
He was impressed. He was very happy that he got to spend what he deemed was a good amount of time in the 3 main art galleries of New York. So
these museums and art galleries, what's the price ranges of these when you're going in all? I guess they all vary, but between what amounts is it?
Is an entry fee.
Yeah, to get to get a ticket.
Many of them you can buy tickets online. The tickets online would be about $25.
Do you get discount if you buy online than actually when you get there? Or
when you get there, it's either a fixed $25, but there was a few places, like the Met, where you paid what you want. So you paid what you deemed was appropriate.
Okay.
So
could you pay nothing?
In theory, I mean, you still needed a ticket. So
1 cent.
I think going into the Met, we paid, I think, $20 each.
Okay.
When it was normally $25.
You pay that on the way in?
Yeah.
Surely you should pay on the way out. That was really good. I'm gonna give $50. Or that was shit. I'm gonna give $5.
Yeah, could do. But then they can't stop people leaving, but they can stop people going in.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, you'll never. Well, I don't know of another place where you'll see that many Van Gogh, Monet paintings in the same location, other than maybe a specialist exhibit.
What about the one in Paris? What's that one called again?
The Louvre.
The Louvre.
Yeah, they might have in there, because you find that a lot of art galleries, famous art galleries around the world, borrow a lot of stuff. They borrow entire artworks,
Collections
and from another museum, and then give them something in return.
How are they displayed in the museum? Like in glass cabinets or something?
No, they're just
hung on a wall.
on a wall, and so they're
What's
like
the security like?
There's probably normally about one person, maybe one person in each room, that we could either explain.
You couldn't just walk up to these and take them off the wall.
No.
How were they bolted to the wall then?
I assume that they're bolted to the wall.
I don't think it'll just be your average
Cut 'em
picture
off.
hook.
No, I don't think it's average
Go
picture.
in there with an angle grinder and grind off
But there's no glass panel. There's nothing stopping you, in theory, touching it. I don't
Not allowed
think.
to take photos or anything, no.
No, you're allowed to take photos.
Oh, yeah.
Funny enough, you're just not allowed a tripod without a permit, and you're not allowed to take video. Strangely
Interesting.
enough, but you're free to take photos.
That'll be to stop people making prints, won't it? With the tripod.
Yeah, though I did see someone.
Well, I don't know. Have you seen the stabilisation on his phone? It's insane. You could probably just hold it and get a...
Did you watch the video?
I watched...
When he was in the car, there's a video.
Oh yeah.
I watched a few.
Ollie
On
driving from...
that Google Pixel stabilisation is fucking nuts.
Driving from the... Was it from the airport?
From JFK to Times Square in a taxi that was knackered, had no suspension, and the roads were really bumpy.
But the video is just smooth as hell. It's like...
Honestly, how surprised was I at that stabilisation? Honestly, it's insane. I don't know what the iPhone 7's like. I'm not having a wee bother, I'm just pouring some water.
He's having a wee.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did see
Incredible.
one person that had a tripod, and then they had a license tag, permit tag attached to the tripod. But we have to get
Why the hell
permission.
would you do that? I guess it would just be for a
It's-
news article or something.
Yeah, maybe. Well, it's to stop, and it's also to stop people from getting the perfect lined up picture for a print.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but why would you need a license to, if you were going to use a tripod? And I guess it would just be for like commercial use photos or something.
Yeah, or maybe they wanted some press doing, or
Yeah.
you know, something like that for their own brochures. Yeah, so we spent a good 6 hours or so, it's more like 4 or 5 hours.
How long were you there? 4 nights?
5
nights.
7 nights, I think.
Oh, 7 nights.
Monday to Monday. So got there Monday.
Did
left
any
there
of the
Monday.
art inspire you?
There was a few cool pieces, yeah.
I was having this discussion with Lamus, who's an old flatmate, and he's a designer working for DCA now. We recently, day before yesterday, we went to Northumbria Uni's different design shows. I think they call it Reveal. So there's like the fashion design students, there's the graphic design, product design.
Graphic?
There's web.
Do you have graphic design in that?
Yeah. There's web development stuff and stuff, but there's also art. And we went through the art exhibition, and I looked at a lot of the paintings, and I was like, I just don't get it. There was one room where there was black pieces of paper hanging on the wall, and that was it.
Black
And
pieces of paper.
I'm assuming this person got a force at first.
I do look at art like that sometimes. There's some art that's just fucking incredible when you look at it. It doesn't have to be a specifically really nice drawn thing or painted thing.
It's
But some art you look at-
splats on a page, and I was like, what on earth? I mean, they had all descriptions on how they got there, like, this is supposed to represent my feelings when I lost my father or something. But no.
No.
But I mean, there were some other ones in there as well. There were some video ones. Like, I know you're asking, like, how do you have video art? But where you sit down in like a dark room and you watch a video, and it was really weird, like people eating spaghetti and squeezing spots and stuff.
Oh, God.
But it's supposed
Quite
to
abstract.
Yeah, really, really weird, and it's like meant to represent letting go of something or something. It's really weird, but I didn't really get that either. But there was one that I did get, and it creeped me and Lamus out a little bit, is you go into a room and there's a mirror on the wall, and there's markings on the wall behind the other side of the mirror, not the other side of the mirror,
behind the mirror.
Behind, like, I don't know how to
in the
describe
reflection.
it. The opposite wall to the mirror.
Oh yeah.
That you could see in the reflection.
Essentially, yeah, and it read out like something weird, like you're always being watched or something. Anyway, you didn't really think of anything of it, and you'd be
Didn't say red rum, did it? Have you seen The Shining?
But no.
Red. He looks in the mirror and it's got red rum written on the wall, which when you look in the reflection, it spells murder. It's creepy as shit.
Also, the name of a famous horse.
It is. Yes.
Yeah, well done.
Carry on.
There's
Those scratches on the wall.
Also, a chair with a TV directly in the centre of the room, and there was just it was white on the TV, nothing on the TV. So me and Lamus were like, okay, this is another one of the weird ones. We carried on walking through, we went through about another 3 or 4 exhibitions, and we came to another one, and the mirror was a one-way mirror, and there was a camera behind the mirror, and it was essentially like, you're always being watched. You never know when you're being watched and stuff. And me and Lamus just looked at each other like, what the fuck?
That's pretty cool.
It's like...
Everything's alive.
How did... What was the guy we had in from Singapore called again?
Ahmed.
How did his bag stuff do, his camera design
we
bag?
checked out his bag.
Was that there?
I don't think the actual bag was there, but his board was there, and the final product looked good. Yeah. It's meant for photographers who might like go out camping.
I watched the
and stuff
promotional
like
videos and stuff. They look really good.
Yeah.
Who
It
did
looked
you
like
do
a
that?
nice finish.
It
product.
did, yeah.
There was some really, really good products there.
I'm interested in going up to see the web ones and obviously the web design ones and stuff.
Interactive design ones were really
Interactive
really good.
design,
and
yeah.
animation and stuff they had up there. They had some master students ones. That would make really good M&S videos at Christmas.
I'd love.
It's not just
I didn't
any
even
bag,
know about the
it's an
event.
M&S bag.
Exactly.
I
Sorry.
didn't even know about the event.
Oh yeah, it hasn't really been advertised that much.
I would have loved to have gone up because that's the type of thing I'm looking for, especially for the apprentices who I need to get in
Yeah.
or who I want to get in.
The furniture product design was really, really nice. Like everything there I would want, I'd buy,
Yeah.
I'd have in my house.
It's incredible.
Really
I think
impressive. Such talent.
there is.
Incredible
I think
talent.
some of the it's a high level stuff some of the students do these days, like with those displays, furniture and.
You can see the
Art
ones where there's a
design.
lot of hard graft gone into it, and they really, really care about what they're doing, and they're really passionate about what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
There's some not so good ones, but you get that everywhere, don't
Yeah, that's good.
you? Sorry, yeah, that's back to art, to galleries anyway. I just thought I'd bring that out there.
No, it's good.
I think it's
Good
until
subject.
like tomorrow or the day after. So if you're hearing this before the 30th
Yeah,
of
it's the
June,
last
go down.
No, I'm
This
not around,
sounds
so I
everywhere.
would have gone, but I'm not around for the next 2 days, so
Sad times.
pretty rubbish. So from the galleries onwards, what did you do for all the other days you were there? So that's you've been to the World Trade Center, Trump Towers,
Yeah, so
art galleries.
one of the days we decided to during the daytime walked around Bryant Park and New York Public Library.
Bryant.
Park. It's the park basically attached to the New York Public Library.
Okay.
And it had toilets in there, which apparently a few years ago were voted world's best toilets.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
Mum always likes to point that
Apparently,
out.
a little dwarf wipes your ass.
Come on,
Sorry,
smelling the
no.
roses.
That wasn't
But-
anything against dwarfs.
Yeah, no, the library itself. just
Hang on,
like-
did you have to pay to get into the toilets?
No, actually.
What, really? What, you have to pay 50p or 20p to get into the one in London?
No, there was fresh flowers in the entrance, and you could
Fucking
go
hell.
in, and there was a little attendant there who would hand you like towels and.
Was he a dwarf?
There was an
No,
attendant in that, handed towels.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
That is mad.
No wonder it's the world's best freaking toilet.
Basically, the entire job was to stand there and look after the toilet. Bathroom.
Nice.
Christ.
Um,
What a job, eh?
Yeah, I wonder who pays
What a
him.
job. Did he even have a chair to sit on?
Did you tip him?
I didn't actually use the toilets, so
You just took a towel and ran.
yeah. But no, I just popped my head in, because that's obviously
you got to
not
have a
really
nosy
there.
peek at the bottom, haven't you?
I took a photo of the entrance, but I thought it'd be a bit weird if you take a photo of inside the toilet.
Was it just actual cubicles inside?
I think so. As far as I can remember, I only had like a 2-second look. But no, that was attached to New York Public Library. It was quite funny. We went in the side entrance, which we didn't realise at first. We thought, oh, this is a bit lacklustre, it's a bit disappointing. We thought it was going to be a grand entrance. And then we walked into the side entrance, and it's like, it's a massive library. It's still being used as a library. People were in there studying, they had computers.
Getting pissed off of the camera clicks.
Yeah. And the main Rose reading room is really big, basically. And then we walked out of the entrance, and then obviously you look behind you, and there's your grand front to the building, which you've seen in a few films such as Sex and the City and probably maybe Home Alone. I can't remember.
What's the film with the ice? Day After Tomorrow?
Yes, Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah, right, I know which place you're on about
walking
now.
Walking down the stairs, and my mate was like, so that's where they were sat in Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Huh.
After they'd just changed clothes.
It was a big grand entrance and foyer.
Was it still flooded from the events of Day After Tomorrow?
No, because I think that's fictional.
I thought Ollie was going to say it was a little bit.
And then then we decided to go to the Empire State Building after that, which you have to.
Seen your photos of them as well. Holy shit.
You have to pre-book tickets to go up the Empire State. Obviously, it being so popular. Normally, if you were to get standard tickets, you'd end up queuing 3-4 hours just to go up it. As we got the express tickets, which were probably about a third extra, maybe about $10 to $20 more, but you literally skipped every single.
What was the standard ticket price?
I'm not sure because I didn't book it, but it was something like $20-something probably for a standard ticket, and about $45-50 for a VIP ticket. But
is there a cheaper one if you take the stairs?
Well, it depends if you want to go up 88 floors on the stairs. Pretty brutal.
Gives you a flashback to 9/11, doesn't it?
Oh, if you're trying to walk down the stairs, there's 112 floors in the World Trade Center. With the plane obviously impacting about 95. So.
God, can you imagine being stuck above that?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Pretty crazy. But anyway.
Sorry. Scared.
So the views from the... you went up in the lift. I saw your video going up in the lift.
They like to distract you going up a few floors a second with a nice video on the roof of the lift.
Look good. There's another place that does that same thing, and it has looks like you've been shot up into the clouds.
It might be in the Burj Khalifa or...
I've been in the Burj Khalifa.
Alton Towers Willy Wonka experience. With the glass lift.
That. We went in it.
Is that not what you're talking about?
No. I'm talking about...
But that is a glass lift where you get through it.
There is, yeah. Yeah, it's
they
not fucking Willy Wonka.
They also do it in the Rockefeller Center as well.
Yeah.
It's similar sort of height, but...
No, it did look good, that. How mad is it how fast the lift goes? It's like Burj Khalifa is the same.
Oh, yeah.
You're travelling up them and you're at the top before you know it. It's insane.
I mean, it goes for about 14 seconds, but that's like 80-odd floors. I mean, it was the world's tallest building for 41 years.
Wow.
Which is the record. There's no other building that has been the world's tallest building for that long. Obviously, it's not the world's tallest building now, but for 41 years it was.
It broke its own record when King Kong was on top.
What year did King Kong climb up it?
Depends on what version of King Kong film
true.
you have to...
True. Fucking crazy thing. So the view at the top then looked pretty insane.
Yeah, it was impressive at the top.
How high is it?
Google's 800 and something meters. That's a complete guess.
800? Can't be 800.
Oh, that might be the current.
There you go. 308.
381. 800.
I was going to say 800.
I think the Burj Khalifa is 800 or something like that.
It might be.
828, the Burges.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
More than twice the height of the
I've been
Empire
up
State.
it. I've been up it. Honestly, it's nuts.
But so at the moment it's the 35th tallest building in the world, which shows you how many buildings we build, considering it finished construction in 1931. You know.
Look how big, taller the Burj Khalifa is now than any other building. And they're building a new one called. I've seen a concept of if you Google the Wave, Abu Dhabi, Ed, or the Wave Dubai.
I think they plan that being a kilometre tall, 1,000 metres. They plan on.
Is that it?
No, that's a current standing building in Abu Dhabi.
Type in 1 kilometre building, maybe.
Jeddah Tower.
Oh, this might be it. Yeah.
Is that named from Star Wars or something? Is that it?
Yeah,
tallest.
So it's due to be completed in 3 years?
Mm.
And then it will be the tallest.
It's creepy when you get up to the Burj Khalifa and you come out the what is there like tube type of thing,
A kilometre high.
and you step out and you see it. Some takes your breath away.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty insane. I mean, in comparison, the Empire State's not really as tall, not that tall, but it's still the tallest thing in New York compared, except for obviously like the Freedom Tower and the World Trade Buildings.
Yeah. So the World Trade is bigger.
Well, the World Trade Center is the 4th tallest building in the world at the moment.
Wow, that's not bad. Have you ever heard of the Exceed 4000?
Never heard of it. Tokyo and Japan.
So this is a concept that was made a while ago. I can't remember when it was initially envisioned, but it was supposed to have up to 1 million inhabitants. It takes over 3,000 tons of reinforced steel. It's going to be a 4 kilometre high, sort of pyramid-shaped building with a 6 kilometre base.
When is this from?
It was designed in 1995.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Yeah, so in 2017, the estimate for it would be sort of somewhere between 500 billion to 1.5 trillion.
Fucking hell. What, and it stopped development now?
I think it's just more of a concept. I can't imagine it getting much faster than that.
I was going to say, how can that be possible? It's not even...
Transportation methods would be maglev trains. I wonder if that's between floors. Probably. And around the floors and stuff.
So push it along. What was the... Because I want to chat to Ed quickly about Florida as well. What was the... if you were going to tell someone to go to New York, what would be the main thing you'd tell them to do? What was your favourite thing that you did when you went to New York? Was it one of the things you've already mentioned, or?
Yeah, it really depends on what you're into. If you're into history, definitely either the Met Museum or the American Museum of Natural History, which was the third museum we went to. Obviously, I'd also recommend the 9/11 Memorial, just to how amazing the materials that they've collected over the past 16 years, and it just tells...
And it took you 5 hours to get around there.
There was one exhibit, so there's the museum itself with obviously the odd exhibits, you know, the foundations and the wall and the towers, and but the main exhibit was you weren't allowed to take photos at all. Photography was banned. There was like a massive timeline. Started at 8:30.
Oh, you mentioned this, yeah.
Finished at months after, and that took 3 hours. Well, it took us 3 hours. Obviously, you go through it a lot quicker. But the amount of material that they've gathered, it's impressive. And then it's cool to go up the Empire State Building and say you've been up the Empire State Building. However, if you want it for views, and you could only go to one of them, I would definitely recommend the Rockefeller Center.
Oh,
instead.
Yeah.
Top of the rock. The views on there are much better than Empire State because one, you face north and you've got Central Park and the entirety of Manhattan. You face south and you can see the Empire State Building with the Freedom Tower, One World Trade Center in the background.
It's like when Carl Pilkington is visiting that thing. We'd rather be in the cave looking at the monument rather than in the monument looking at the cave.
Exactly, yeah. And you can see, we could see planes taking off from JFK because it was a nice day and you could zoom in because I had a telephoto lens with my camera, zoom in and see planes.
And what's in the Rockefeller Center again?
So Rockefeller Center is mainly, buildings, businesses, and like offices and I think apartments. The whole bottom floor.
How pissed off would you be with all these strangers coming up and down your fucking lift all day long if you lived there?
Yeah. So it's called Top of the Rock and it has its own separate entrance to the Rockefeller Center.
Oh, right, okay.
The Rockefeller Center has its own entrance that's the other side of the building, which we did go in because it has an underground dining concourse, as they call it.
All right.
So it's quite big underground as well.
They must use so much ground underneath.
Oh yeah, it's
floor level
amazing.
in New York. Like all the metros just below.
Well, I think they do that in all major cities. Do they not? London's the same, but I know Dubai at the moment they're developing this whole new underground shopping experience, theme park, and all sorts in Dubai.
Yeah,
all underground.
Just go to like Grand Central Station. It's a pretty big building from the service, but it's got 117 tracks. It's a lot of tracks. But yeah, so if you were to go to New York, I'd recommend 9/11, the Rockefeller Center.
I was going to say you'd recommend 9/11.
9/11 Memorial Museum. Sorry.
Does it compare? I think I've asked the question before, but how does it compare to London? Is it as busy? Is it as bloody?
I would say
manic. Because I like London, but I could only spend a few days there. It drives me mad a little bit.
I think it's as manic, just as manic.
Yeah.
Could be a bit more because the traffic system over there is a bit crazy.
I guess it's just being there though, isn't it? It's like somewhere you don't really go that often.
You can't jaywalk, as they call it.
Yeah.
So you can only cross the road where there is a crossing. But to be honest, you'd only want to cross the road where there is a crossing. Because of the roads are that wide, and there's hardly any pedestrian button things. Where you press the button, you gotta wait. Because virtually all the intersections, especially in Manhattan, are on automatic lights.
Yeah.
And change all the time. And the way that it seems more airy and open than London. London at times seems quite cramped and compact. Probably because they have...
Was the tube similar to that though?
The grid versus
the grid versus the,
amalgamation
expansion.
of cobble streets and...
Well, I guess it just means America though. America's very old. Like New York, I imagine, is very, very old, just like London.
Yeah.
Obviously two very old cities.
But no,
London, I can imagine being a bit older.
Yeah.
The subway we only went on the subway once or twice, but it was a lot dirtier than the underground. Not dirtier in terms of like rubbish, just grime and whatnot.
Needs a good scrub.
It's interesting.
And you could see there was no form of, like the underground has tubes, is why it's called the tube, but you could literally, there was just metal pillars holding up, obviously, the tracks, so you could see across to the other platform on the other side where there were 3 tracks.
And what I thought was mental, you were telling me that when you were walking along the street, you could see metal grids and you could actually see them running underneath you.
Yeah, so at some points there's metal grids and you don't always see them, but you could hear them, and feel the rush of air that would come when one would pass.
That's mad.
And also, one thing I found fascinating was literally just in the middle of the road, there'd be a pipe just sticking up. Like quite a big pipe just sticking up in like the middle of the road with bollards around it.
What the fuck was that?
With steam constantly coming out. And basically what it is, they take water from the Hudson to obviously power all the air conditioning in all the buildings. And then they use the excess heat to like heat the subway or cool the subway, and then all the excess then goes out into the air through these massive pipes.
That's mad.
Jeez.
So I took a photo of one, which I'll share if I find it.
Yeah, we'll get those up on a link.
Yeah, how many photos did you take?
So on my phone, I took about 1,000 photos.
We always go mad, don't we? We live our life through a lens when we go away. It's freaking mad.
I don't know. I took about 20 photos.
Did you?
My whole 3 weeks that I was away.
So all your memories are just mental memories.
My memories are
but
memories.
A lot of the stuff, it was like a lot of the stuff you taken photos of museums.
And
Stuff
buildings.
in museums, like exhibitions, and it's like, yeah, that's cool, but would I really look at it afterwards? Or stuff of like, New York.
You should do one of those like photo book things.
I think that's what Mum's going to do, photo book. But yeah, you hear, as I said, I'm telling stories, showing you pictures about New York, but there's nothing in comparison to actually being there.
Yeah.
It's just the atmosphere, and it's just something completely different. You walk down Times Square, it's 11 p.m. at night,
It's busy.
all the shops are open, and it's absolutely packed.
Did you take a yellow taxi?
No, we didn't take a cab.
Man.
Climb the
So we
Empire State
literally-
Building. But
we
didn't get a
literally-
cab.
We walked and took the subway twice throughout the entire week.
Wow.
I guess the thing is, like, it's like the same as London. I guess if you take a taxi in London, it still takes you about 6 hours to fucking get anywhere.
And it's a fortune.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fortune.
There's a lot of people trying to get you to buy bus tours.
Yeah.
Hop on, hop off bus tours. But the thing with those is you spend most of the time in traffic. And if you don't have a good guide, you just sat on a bus and you see so much more by walking.
Yeah.
And you burn off all the calories that you eat while you're on holiday.
Well, that's what Chris White, he obviously went with his girlfriend to New York, and he said I think he spent 5 days there, something, 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
Just said he walked everywhere, but he was looking at his phone, Google Maps at the end of his week there or whatever he did, and he said he just walked for miles and miles, 20, 30, 40 miles. It's fucking mad.
On average, we walked about 3 to 5 miles a day. Well, on the last day, it was 35 degrees heat. And the last thing we wanted to see was a Flatiron building.
Oh yeah, you mentioned this.
The what building?
Flatiron building.
Oh yeah.
So it
Cool
looks
building.
like an iron, but obviously really long, quite famous. And we were in Times Square, and the Flatiron building, which is 52nd Street Hotel, and the Flatiron building was on something like 19th Street.
Right.
So we ended up walking 30 blocks. So you just watch the numbers count down going on the same road.
Yeah.
And we were told by someone that 20 blocks is a mile.
All right.
So we walked.
That's quite handy with the grid system. At least you know how far you got to go.
Obviously, obviously it can vary. To some city blocks are slightly different to others, but so it was 30 blocks south. We walked, took a few photos, and then walked 30 blocks back. Took about 40 minutes.
Mad, innit? What
to
do you
get
do
there,
to get a photo?
And then 40 minutes to get back. So we walked 3.5 miles.
So that's what side of the city is that?
It's pretty much
The city?
central.
Oh, central.
So it was, I think you just walked down Fifth Avenue, pretty much. You could just walk down Broadway, because Broadway does cut across all the avenues.
So lastly on your trip, what was your show like that you went to, the magic stuff, illusions thing you did?
Oh yeah, so a while ago...
What was it called again?
It was called In and of Itself.
Who produced it or whatever it was?
So, yeah, the reason I found out is because I watched quite a lot of US talk shows on YouTube. And it was Neil Patrick Harris, who played Barney in How I Met Your Mother. Or Doctor Horrible is another thing he did. Or even Series of Unfortunate Events on Netflix recently. He was the old guy. I can't remember his name exactly. The main guy.
These were all the cards
and
you were talking
he was a
about.
president of the Magical Society for a few years, and he was in one of the executive producers of this show. It was more of an illusion show than a magic show. It involved sleight of hand in cards, but also some tricks which you could try and explain, but you wouldn't really have try. Imagine like some of the tricks that Dynamo or David Blaine would do.
Yeah.
One example is there was a bottle. He would, while telling a story, fold up the bottle label as a boat, and then hold the bottle in front of the boat. Pretend obviously the boat was on the sea while telling the story about the sailor, and then a blink of an eye hit the two together, and the paper boat was in the bottle, floating in the liquid.
Crazy, isn't it?
And it's like, well, how do you do that? You know, it's a clear bottle, clear liquid. You know.
Same as when we went to see Dynamo in Newcastle, when you did it with the phone.
Yeah.
Hits it against the bottle, and it's in the phone. Then you get someone to ring it. It's inside the phone. Then he manages to get it out again. Explain that one, Edward.
It was quite a hard show to explain, because it was very well done. It was mainly centered around stories. But yeah, I mean.
Well, we'll put a link up on the website on the podcast episode, and you can go on there and have a look, see, read about it and stuff like that.
A lot of links on the go now.
Yeah, well, we can fill it up. Don't worry about that.
Anyway, I've been talking about New York way too much, Edward. How was Florida?
So what happened after you got off your 18-seater minibus?
15.
What was the place like you stayed in?
It was nice. It was
Chris Danks. He goes, some of the ones he rents out.
Yeah.
I think it'll be similar to the ones you do.
Yeah.
Or you did. Because I saw you on your photos. You had a pool and stuff as well, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a sort of 4-bedroom sort of villa. It was like a bungalow sort of thing, with its own pool. It was on a nature reserve as well, so we could hear all the animals and stuff at night, which was quite nice. I say all the animals: frogs and alligators and
bears,
crickets.
Yeah, a lot of crickets.
Did you ever stay? Yeah. Did you spend the day in there at any point, or did you always go every day?
We only spent one day where we didn't leave.
I guess you need days like that though, where you just chill out for it.
Yeah.
Because I guess you get dead busy going to different places.
Yeah. So I can't remember. There's so many parks. I can't remember all the parks that we went to. We went to some parks on multiple days just because they took so long.
Was it all just generally theme parks you went to then? Attractions?
Yeah. So actually, if I bring up a list of parks, this might remind me.
You got to go to Disney World to see Mickey Mouse or Minnie Mouse, whichever you prefer.
Saw a bit of Minnie and her skirt. Okay, so
what's a skirt that got to do with anything, Ed?
I don't know. So I've just googled a list of parks in Florida, and I'm going to go through them.
Fucking hell, how many is like around Orlando?
There's a lot.
Did you got the Kennedy Space Station?
We didn't. There was so.
You've got your popular ones, don't you? Like your Disney, Universal, but then there's just so many others.
Yeah. So on the 9th of June, SpaceX had planned a launch for the Falcon 9, I think, to go restock the ISS or something.
Didn't they just do 2 launches in the 48 hours?
In one weekend, yes.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
And all successful?
Yeah, both landed successfully. Pretty hard down, but, they landed.
All that money saved.
Yeah.
It's incredible what he's doing, man. Like, what a dude.
Well, we were gonna go see it on the 9th, and we were gonna go to Kennedy Space Center. But apparently you can't view certain areas or something if there's a launch that day for health and safety and stuff like that. So we didn't actually bother. We also heard that. Well, we saw Chris Danks' video. Cheers for the update there, Chris, if you're listening.
Yeah, we had a look at Chris's video. Did you ever see it, Ollie? Chris went to the SpaceX launch.
I saw one a while ago that he did the SpaceX launch.
Yeah, it was like a little pea got himself for like a second.
Yeah, it's smaller than a needle, like floating in the distance.
Yeah.
So yeah, we decided not to bother and go to. I mean, we had paid for the tickets for all the parks as well. So
before you went.
Yeah. So it was.
God, that must have been pricey. How many did you go to?
It was nearly £600 for 2-week tickets to almost all the parks.
Can you not get like a full, like just a single ticket to go in, access all of them?
No, because they're owned by different companies.
Yeah,
so
Universal and
yeah.
Did you have to buy them separately, or was it like a pass?
Well, Abby's dad found a good deal, where essentially they were all bundled together, and you got like free Gatorland tickets and stuff like that. But we didn't end up using half the stuff.
So which ones did you go to off these here?
So Walt Disney World. We didn't go there on the first day, but I think we went on the.
Which one is the one? I think it's Walt Disney World, isn't it? Where the Harry Potter world. Did you go to that one?
It's either there or Disney's Hollywood Studios. I can't remember.
Did you go to it though?
Or Magic Kingdom. Oh.
Did you not take photos of these places when you went?
Yeah, I took a few photos, but like I said, I didn't take many photos. It's one of those places where there'll be better photos if you Google the parks.
What on earth is that?
There's no point.
Click Island of Adventure there.
Where?
Keep going up. Yeah, that one.
Island of.
Is that a roller coaster?
Yeah, I don't think we went there. Yes,
Yeah,
hang on.
that looks class.
So Walt Disney World, we went. That's your typical fairy tale world.
Did you see Mickey and Minnie walking around in suits?
There was a show.
They're not
Yeah,
suits,
actually,
they're real.
yeah. I think that.
What?
Yeah, they're real. They're only fake on the show. They're real when you're there. There was all the Disney princesses and stuff doing shows and stuff.
Which one was your favourite show?
I don't know. 'Cause they're
I think you're a bit of a Frozen fan, aren't you?
Yeah, Elsa was there.
Was she?
She was smoking as well.
I still haven't seen that film. Still not seen Frozen.
What?
Trust me, if you have a girl, you will have that on repeat.
Yeah. I'm just it's not one I've got around to watching yet.
There was a lot of stormtroopers.
Oh, which
was cool? Really cool. And I don't know if in Rogue One there's the woman from Game of Thrones in silver armor.
Oh, Captain Phasma.
Yeah.
She was actually in Force Awakens.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was not actually her. We assume, but a
replica.
Yeah. Of her wandering around, giving commands and stuff to her troops, which was really, really cool. Almost all the parks have rides. I don't think all of them do. I can't remember if. Yeah, I think most of them do.
How did they fare up to places like Alton Towers?
Alton Towers is like.
Better.
No, it's like a gypsy park in comparison.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What about the size? What about the size? Is like
Wow.
I'm
surprised at that.
No, okay. So some of the parks were similar to Alton Towers, but it's less of the rides and stuff, but the experience is like no other. No matter what, like you go to Alton Towers, you have the odd feeling that you're being ripped off here and there, in the Disney parks and Universal parks, you just know you're being ripped off, but you don't care.
Yeah.
Because you're in like this crazy world. And a lot of people said that all the people in Orlando, because they're all working in the same industry, that they're all really super chirpy and happy. That's not necessarily true. It's really weird. You have either people who are there just to work, and you can totally tell, you can see it in their soul, that they're just, okay, that's another burger for you, thanks, enjoy your day. Like, they're not rude, but...
Yeah, but you've got, I think if you're
Doing the
working in, well, people might freaking love the job and to serve burgers, but it's different when you're serving a burger at Disney World, or if you fucking dressed up as Mickey Mouse, your job's totally different.
Well, that's the thing, because then you'd have other people that were serving burgers doing exactly the same job, and they were like, hey, how's it going? Oh my god, you're having gherkin, you're crazy. Like, all the
like
time.
over the top of
Yeah,
Americans.
like insane, like so stereotypical. And, like, so many cringe moments of just normal conversations. I don't, was it the same in New York? Were you just... No.
We made a few friends, like
Okay.
the odd tour, the old guy, he was like, oh wait, you guys from Britain, aren't you? I was like, yeah. It's like, yeah, I went to London once, 1986. But oh, right, okay.
It's the same.
The year I was being born.
And we met another guy in a gift shop in a museum. A girl in the museum. He was like quite friendly, but most people, we don't actually speak to many other people.
No.
You know?
Well, because there was 8 of us as well, we're probably quite intimidating.
Did you all stay together throughout the whole thing? Like,
We all, because there was only one car, we all went to the same park each day, but sometimes we wandered around together, sometimes we split up. Because there was young ones with us as well, 8 and 13.
right.
9 and 13. So obviously they couldn't be left unattended. So whether it was me and Abby looking after them or whoever.
So when you went there, did you obviously been at these parks? Which ones of these did you go to?
So we went to Walt Disney World. We didn't go to Epcot. I would have liked to gone to Epcot, but we didn't go.
Epcot has that ride where you're a crash test dummy. You do a crash test.
I don't know.
And you fly around and you stop, apparently.
So
and you break
I
your
always
bones.
thought Epcot was more about like eco kind of sustainability.
Apparently, it's more like an educational centre rather than a theme.
Amusements.
Yeah, it's like a cross between a museum and which is probably why I would have liked to have gone because I'm a bit of a nerd. But and then Disney's Hollywood Studios was cool. That was like
where they did the films or
so it wasn't. Some places it looks like it could have been where stuff's being filmed, but I wasn't sure if it was where it had been filmed or if it was a replica of what it was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the Harry Potter world was really, really cool. We had like some wizard death beer or something. That was actually really, really nice. And some other really cool stuff in there, like whole shops of wands and treats.
Wands?
Yeah.
As in a magic wand?
Like, I think, isn't it like Ollivander's store of wands?
Yeah.
Yeah, show my
Who's
Harry
that?
Potter trivia off there.
Oh, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Is that where Harry Potter World was, that one then? The Disney Hollywood place?
I think so. It could have been.
I've seen it on my... I've had a few friends who've gone there before. And
I think it was the Hollywood Studios.
pretty cool. I mean, I don't know shit about Harry Potter. I've never really seen them.
Neither have I.
But
I've not seen all of them.
I
they look
think I've
pretty.
seen all of them. But
People obviously... Oh, it's 20 years anniversary, wasn't it?
The story is incredible.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Um,
Oh, it's amazing where it's come from in the 20 years it has. It's fucking mad.
yeah.
What a franchise.
The waiting for the rides as well at the parks weren't actually as bad as you think. Like,
Did you have queue jump or just standard?
They had the timers, so it might say like a wait time of 2 hours, but it would actually only be like 40 minutes.
That's pretty good.
I think the
It's all
longest.
about managing expectations.
Exactly.
Clearly.
The longest one we wait. Ironically, the first ride we went on, the Incredible Hulk, at
Oh, that looks incredible. Show me the roller coaster.
Good use of words there.
incredible there.
Yeah.
Hulk coaster. Just googling that. Oh, hang on, there's a video here. So we waited, I think, about 50 minutes for this, and oh my god, it was so hot.
50 minutes, and that was like the longest you waited.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So it's like this idea of you getting radiated and then turning into the Hulk. And
I think a lot of them had
really
stories to them.
Yeah, most of them did. So it shoots you off really, really quickly.
It's a bit like Rita, like.
Yeah, and then throws you right into it.
Well, I've put this link on the notes.
Yeah, so...
Wow.
I'm definitely a fan of roller coasters, but I've only experienced the British ones, so I don't know if...
been on some of the best ones.
So this was quite similar to like Nemesis and on Towers, if you've been on that. Like fast, throws you about a bit, but doesn't completely give you a head, brain, mind.
Still not gone on Smiler yet. I don't know if they've closed that down.
I've got it. I mean, Ellie got onto it.
So like
Mad ride.
Lots of loops and stuff. Throws you around. It's nice. But then we went to actually, yeah, they do go on for a while.
Wow, this is quite a long ride, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of them are like this as well.
Worth the wait.
Yeah, well, yeah, we also thought that actually. Our favourite park was actually Busch Gardens, which is the one I said.
It's a popular one in it. I've heard it a lot of.
Well, a lot of people, because it's in Tampa, no one wants to travel an hour and a half, or get the bus. So both times we went, it was dead quiet.
It's been open since 1959. Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's mad. So this is actually a SeaWorld's park. So our SeaWorld ticket let us in here for free.
You went to SeaWorld?
Yeah, we went to SeaWorld as well. Wait,
did you see any killer whales?
Yeah, the orcas were amazing, but I did feel a bit sad.
You should. You shouldn't be funding that type of shit, man.
Did you have a banner that said Free Willy?
I was loving it. It's all based on positive reinforcements. Yeah, they give them fish after. And they starve them the rest of the time.
You heard some of the shit that comes out about that place?
Yeah, it's not
SeaWorld.
Good. It's better.
Which SeaWorld you went to? SeaWorld?
Yeah. They used to have apparently they used to have something ridiculous like 8 shows a day. No, more than that maybe. Like 12 shows a day or something.
Poor animals.
But they had so many complaints that they've reduced it to 6. So they've cut down on the number of shows to give the animals a rest.
They had a guy off from who used to work there on JRE.
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell is he called? I actually spoke to him once on Periscope, I think it was.
So, in my opinion...
Phil Demers is someone he's called.
Phil
Demers.
Phil Demers.
He used to look after a sea lion there. I think it was at SeaWorld, and he's been trying to get them shut down for ages.
Wow.
Disgusting places. For disgusting human beings.
Yeah, it was good though. It was a great show. Recommend. Go and see it.
It was a great show. Why was it a great show?
It's just like...
Each to their own, you know.
Orcas doing...
They shouldn't be doing that stuff though, should they?
Well...
Shouldn't be in pools like that doing tricks for people. They need to be out in the open sea. Not dying in little pools.
Apparently they're all rescue orcas. How does that make
With the fins bent over.
Were their fins bent over?
With the fins bent over. Like a circular...
No?
Not straight.
No, they were all straight.
You sure?
Does that mean they're happy or sad?
It's sad because it stopped being used and it'll flop over.
Oh.
Poor little things. Carry on. You managed to get yourself a free theme park ticket from SeaWorld.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not...
Carry on. Tell Abby to wait.
So the rides at Busch Gardens are really cool. Some of them made me feel a bit sick, but that was probably because I just had 3 burgers.
Only 3.
Those I don't really like them Falcon Fury one there.
Well,
I don't really like them ones.
This one is pretty
Whoa.
Pretty crazy. So Falcon Fury.
It's like the Hurricane Kana in Portaventura.
You sit on a seat and then it shoots you directly up in the air.
Well, it takes you up and then it just drops you free drop. It's freaking... I'm not too massive
where your
fan
stomach ends up in your mouth.
Yeah.
Falcon's Fury is a bit weird because It drops you face first.
Oh,
And
it tilts.
And then swings out. Hang on, let's see if there's a... So it pulls you up right into the air, 300 odd feet. We didn't actually go on this because we didn't have time.
Did you want to then?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look.
And then it tilts you forward to the ground.
Whoa, that is mental.
So you're basically looking at the floor.
Yeah, we went on this one.
Wow.
I almost broke my neck. So then it drops you right to the ground. And then it swings you out.
It's pretty intense, that.
That is intense.
So that looked fun.
That one at bloody, what's that one at Alton Towers called again? Where you lean over the edge and you drop? Oblivion.
Yeah.
That one's mental. That looks higher than that though.
All the rides are ridiculously high.
So when you went to Florida, was it just theme parks you visited, or
Pretty much.
pretty much?
Yeah.
What did you do on
It
the
was
night?
like a different theme park every day.
Did
My
you go
guts
to
were
like a
wrecked by the
wildlife?
end.
Like a wildlife one.
Yeah, we went
Zoo?
to... hang on, if I just go back to the list of parks. So Busch Gardens is kind of like half theme park, half zoo. So
Right.
there's one called the Cheetah Hunt, and that actually runs alongside the cheetah's enclosure. It accelerates at the speed of the same speed of a cheetah. So it's
So it's a ride.
yeah. And it takes you all the way around the park as well. It's like 3.5 minutes long. It's really, really cool. Apparently, the like G-forces and stuff are supposed to replicate a cheetah when they turn corners and stuff like that. And it takes you over like the elephant enclosure and stuff. It's quite cool. And then Disney's Animal Kingdom as well has loads of animals in it as well. They have the Tree of Life. With, I don't know if you remember the film Ants.
I was just about to say Jungle Book for some reason.
Yeah, under the Tree of Life, they have a show based on Ants, the film. Not Ants, Bug's Life.
I was thinking ants. I was
Ants.
like,
That's what I meant.
Bug's Life? I've never seen it, I don't think. I've heard of it.
It's a Disney film, isn't it?
Yeah.
See if I can find a photo.
maybe DreamWorks. Maybe as well.
Yeah, so this is the tree.
Disney Pixar.
And the whole tree is made up of different animals. There's no one like single branch. It's all different animals, like their trunks, their legs, their arms.
So,
Well, someone's actually carved it.
100 different types of snake then.
It'd be molded like that. There's an example. Like,
Oh, whoa.
so it's all like that within the actual tree. And then you walk around the tree and you go underneath, and then that's where the show is, the Bugs Life show, which is pretty cool. It's like put 3D glasses on and things touch your bum and back and stuff. It's quite scary if you're 6 or me.
It's good creative work, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool. But Animal Kingdom is like based on the world, so you have different areas of the world. I think Busch Gardens is similar, but so essentially, so you have like Africa, you have America and Asia, and you like walk around the sort of different areas, and there's different cuisines and the different.
How
areas.
far apart are all the different rides, the different theme parks and stuff? Did you do a lot of mileage whilst you were there?
Yeah, we went through. Well, with it being a 15-seater, we went through a lot of fuel.
What did you do with that?
It's
Just
about
chip in on all the fuel?
Yeah, it was about 2.5.
It's easiest and
2.5
cheapest
tanks.
way to get around, though, isn't it? If there's a heap of you.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Better than taking taxis everywhere.
Let me just bring up a map. Oh, why have I brought up Orleans? What? Orlando, not Orleans.
New Orleans.
Almost. Yeah, there was a lot of like car crashes and stuff.
Actual car crash.
Did you actually drive the minibus yourself, or was it just Abby's
No,
dad?
it was just Abby's dad. He's a wagon driver by trade, so we just let him stuck to his So we
His
stayed.
profession.
Yeah, that's the one. So we stayed at Davenport, which was here, like near one of these little lakes, and we don't think we went into Orlando.
Yeah, there
But-
are a lot of little lakes, aren't there?
Yeah, well, the whole of Florida is actually built on a swamp. The whole of
Florida's built on a swamp.
Florida is essentially a swamp, and they've been pumping water from it for ages to get more land back and stuff.
No, oh, yeah, look, all the patchiness.
And Interstate 4, is that the right one? What am I thinking? Yeah, the I-4, which is from Tampa to Orlando, and it takes you right up to Daytona.
Oh, did you go to Daytona?
No.
Oh, I'd love to go to Daytona for the Daytona USA races. Mint.
But the I-4 is renowned for like car crashes and things like ghosts appearing on the road and people getting run over and all sorts of horrible things. But anyway, I was trying to find where the parks are. But like I said, I think they were all around here. We weren't very far from...
So through the day you just went to the parks and everything
Oh,
else?
here we go. So they're all up here.
What, oh yeah, it's quite busy there, isn't it?
They're all quite close to
Why
each
is
other.
it specifically in that area?
Don't know.
Just because it's the
Probably.
main point?
Yeah.
How many miles is that there from where you were?
I think it was about a 15-minute drive. 20-minute drive.
That must be the main central motorway, is it there?
Yeah, when you're on the I-4, it takes like 2 minutes to get anywhere, pretty much. Unless you're in rush hour, then it takes 4 hours to get anywhere.
It's like a magic road where it takes you 2 minutes to get 1 mile, but also 2 minutes to get 10 miles.
Yeah, pretty much. But you can see, if you
God,
zoom
it's
in,
busy,
there's
isn't it?
just so many parks.
Jesus.
You just don't realise the scale of America compared to somewhere like the UK.
Yeah, it's
I mean, even to travelling between... Like, there's a flight that goes from New York JFK to New York LaGuardia Airport.
Wow.
I'm like, that's crazy.
Well, I mean, if you look at the size of Florida there, and then you look at the size of the UK...
It's almost around the boats, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like the bottom. It's like the top of the UK.
Yeah, it's like Scotland, pretty much, the size of Scotland.
Look at that over the river. Like if you scroll down a bit, like off the edge, keep going. That's where I was there, Varadero.
Oh yeah, in
That's
Cuba.
where we were in Cuba. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
So we went down to Havana for a bit.
So close.
It's like literally Miami and stuff's over the water. We came down the Florida coast, so we came down past Palm Beach, Miami, and across.
Nice.
On the plane.
Yeah,
But you could get flights across, but the flights were pricey from Cuba to Miami.
Were they?
Like £700.
Wow. So we got a flight from Gatwick, and it went all the way up above, like to Iceland.
How did you find the flight
past
with
Iceland, Greenland?
Not been on the flight for a while? Comfortable or?
Oh yeah, how long has it been since I've been on a flight? Here we go. The famous sentence. My most recent holiday before Florida, I went to Auschwitz.
Oh yeah.
So, was that a flight?
Liar.
That was a flight. Why am I lying?
It was Leon.
Shit, yeah, it was.
Oh, it was a few days earlier.
A few days earlier, so just before I went to...
That was a good little warm-up flight, I guess, for you, wasn't it?
It was. Practicing at security and stuff.
Before that was what, Zante?
Yeah. Yeah, and then before that,
which was,
I was like
that was
12.
2007.
Yeah.
It was just before.
Wow, 10 years ago. I was,
So,
13.
what did you do on a night in Florida? Just back at the flat, at the apartment?
Yeah, so we on the first day we went.
Is it not like a strip of like clubs and bars and stuff and all that to go to, or?
Because you have to drive. Yeah, this is the thing. Like there are no footpaths. Well, there are footpaths, but like because everywhere's close but far away, there are no paths. You can't.
There's
walk
always a drive away.
Like it's weird because you couldn't even go out for a stroll down the road because you would come out. We were in like a little gated community. You'd come out the community. You'd walk up the road to where it met like the highway, and then that would be it. That would be no more path. So you couldn't even go for a walk. It was really, really weird.
Interesting.
And so
essentially, if you went to Orlando, you would go there generally for theme parks and these attractions.
Yeah.
And hot weather.
Yeah. The weather is insane. It was like, well, it was just coming storm season when we went. So the first few days we were there, it was absolutely boiling. It was like 34, 35.
What was the weather?
But it's not the heat, it's the humidity. It's like
it's
like you're
same in Singapore.
It's like you're underwater, under 34-degree water all the time.
What was it like on a night? Did it start like thunderstorms and stuff? Because in Singapore it was generally like that. You get the hot weather through the day, and it comes to the night very early morning.
So
thunderstorms, lightning, and all sorts. It was impressive. Cuba was the same.
Was it?
Yeah, on a night. I've got like
some they're close, aren't they, Florida and Cuba? So
yeah. Let's just share the same water and everything else.
Yeah.
But
it like 4 o'clock every day it would rain. Like, and when I mean rain, like you would be soaking all the way through from top hat to penis in 4 seconds.
So your legs didn't get wet then?
Yeah, like your shoes were underwater within 20 seconds. Literally, it was mental.
It's like,
but it would do that every single day at 4 o'clock on the dot. Like every single day, it was weird. And then on a night, it would thunder every single night.
Well, in Cuba, I don't know if they have the same thing in Florida, but in Cuba, when we were stood on our balcony, what they have is plotted around the island, is big, massive poles.
Right.
And they are actually to attract the lightning flashes to the poles.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you saw those in Florida.
No, I don't think
but
so.
I got
That's clever, though.
Yeah, I got loads. So instead of hitting certain things, it would come down, it would hit those poles.
We were advised not to go in the pool, but we'd all had beers and we all went in the pool anyway.
so you just chilled on the night, have beers and stuff. And
yeah, I think that's where I put on a stone in just over 2 weeks.
Have you been back to the gym yet?
Yeah, I've been about 4 or 5 times, which is
good.
Better than before I went.
So, to finish off the Florida chat, what was your favourite park? What would you recommend doing when you're there? Is there any sightseeing stuff? Like
the parks are kind of the
that's
sightseeing.
What it is, it's attractions. Is there a beach?
We went to Clearwater on the second to last day, which is, I want to say it's in Tampa, but yeah, it is. There we go. Yeah, so it's in Tampa, Clearwater Beach, and I'm going to bring up a photo because it was phenomenal.
Was there anything like Cuban beach and sand?
Picture perfect.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
The sand is like, wow. The sand was like dust.
God, that looks a bit like that one down there, the big one with the buildings in the background.
Where?
To your left. That one, yeah.
This one?
Not to the right? Yeah, that. It looks a bit like Miami, doesn't it? The city in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, the sand was amazing. The sea was, like, warm. It was like someone had ran a bath.
Not someone that peed in it.
Actually, yeah, it was probably more like the temperature of someone peeing in a bath.
It's like that in Cuba, though. You go in and you find you get actually deep into the sea.
Yeah.
And you would find these hot pools of water in the sea.
Wow.
It's insane. The beaches there are, and the water is stunning.
Abby doesn't like beaches or the sea, so I had to accommodate her while we were there. But I definitely, if I was going to go back, I probably.
Why does she not like sand?
Yeah, I think it's just the whole
grittiness.
Idea,
and stuff.
It's the whole idea of getting dirty and salty and sweaty and sandy and sweaty.
Any more S's? Sexy?
Sexy. Yeah, there was a lack of cocktails there. That's probably what was wrong. So, if you wanted to see the beach, I'd go to Clearwater. 'Cause Clearwater Beach was amazing.
How long was that drive to the edge to the?
It was
coast?
It was quite a long drive. I'd say about a 2-hour drive.
Fucking hell, really?
Yeah.
You'd have to set off early then if you wanted to get there for.
We set off about
a good day there.
Yeah, I think we set off about 2 in the afternoon.
Oh, really?
Which was quite late, but we stayed until about 6. So we were only there for 2 hours. It was like once you're on the beach and it's nice, you've already got your suntan, so you get bored a bit quick.
I was just going to mention suntans. You both aren't really that brown, especially you, Ed, for being away for 2 weeks.
It was overcast a lot of the days because it was storm season. But
I
did tan a little bit.
I tan/burnt a little bit when we spent a good 2 hours on a water taxi that had no cover, with no sun cream either.
Because the sun is directly above, your shoulders get really suntan and burnt, but nowhere else. Like, I put on a bit of weight, so my boobies actually gave me like white patches under my tits. Because like the sun is that overhead. Do you know what I mean? Was that a pound in the jar?
No, it's a pound in the jar.
I always have my phone vibrate.
Favourite park? Definitely Busch Gardens. Just because the other parks were so busy. And once you've been on the rides, there wasn't actually that much to do. It was like just gift shops.
So if you went on a ride or queuing for a ride, it was like,
or getting a pretzel,
or eating, or in a gift shop. It's like, well,
I mean, there were the occasional shows. We went to, I think it was Animal Kingdom. We went to the Indiana Jones show. That was really, really cool. Explosions.
You didn't see Harrison then?
No. Live action, sort of jumping around and doing flips and fights and stuff, which was cool. And then we saw like a bird show there as well. So Animal Kingdom was probably my favourite Disney park, and I'm a bit of a fan of animals though, so Busch Gardens was definitely it for me. Just because some of the roller coasters, it was like you go on the roller coaster, you get off, and you can go straight back on the roller coaster. There's like no queue. There's no one there because no one wants to go there because it's so far away.
That's pretty cool.
But if you have a SeaWorld ticket, you can get there for free on the bus. So,
that's good.
Very good. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
God, it's been 2 hours, 8 minutes.
It's getting late, isn't it? So
it is. We're gonna have to finish.
I'm wondering what you're gonna say then.
Right. All right. Thanks very much for listening. We'll have this podcast out for you very soon, and
we'll have to get Ollie back on because.
Definitely, there's loads to talk about. I wanted to talk a lot about E3 and everything else as well,
E3,
but we'll save
Tesla,
I could chew your ear off about Tesla.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing because it's the stuff that they're doing is what Elon Musk is doing is pretty incredible. SpaceX, boring company, Tesla, loads to chat about. But yeah, that's for another episode, and thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, thanks for listening, guys. It was a really good podcast. I've certainly learned a lot about America, a lot about New York, which is a place I certainly think I'm going to be visiting in the next year or 2 years. One place I've never been to is Florida. My brothers have been there, but I haven't been myself. It does sound like a really good place. If you're really into your theme parks and attractions, it does sound like a good place to visit. So yeah, just thank you very much for listening. Just to mention a few things, my company's going to be at Dynamo Northeast next week on Monday. Dynamo Northeast is for all IT and tech companies within the North. I really highly recommend you get yourselves along there. We're going to be there. Primitive Sense Limited as a digital agency who builds website applications and sort of events and sporting websites. So get yourselves along. That's on Monday in Durham. You can check their website out, Dynamo Northeast. If you just pop that into Google, that'll come up. Another mention to Ed's company, Given Origin. Given Origin are a brand design and development company. So if you're looking for your brand to be designed and developed, then I would certainly recommend Ed Dutton's company, Given Origin. You can find their website at givenorigin.com, or just pop that into Google, Given Origin, and that will come up in search. All right, until next time, thanks very much for listening, and I hope to see you guys soon. Please pop onto our channels on YouTube, on SoundCloud, and on the website at PrimalSomething.com, and we can discuss more there. We do have comments sections for the podcast, so it'd be really good to hear from you, and we look forward to that. Thanks very much.